Thank you so much for joining with us on OTT Play.
Hi, thanks for having me here. This is Shikha.
Hi, this is Neena
Hello.
Kulkarni. Thank you for having me here.
Yes, could you tell us a bit about Unpaused and how did this collaboration happen?
I don't know if you've seen Unpaused season 1. This is Unpaused
Yes.
season 2. And as we know, Unpaused is an anthology of short films from 5 different filmmakers. I have my story, Gon Ke Laddu, as part of this anthology. And the central theme is, living with the pandemic, the realities of the pandemic. And when I was approached by the Amazon team to give ideas, which basically center around stories of hope and humanity. I thought of a bunch of things, and then Gon Ke Laddu somehow, because of whatever reasons, was resonating a lot with all of us, and also a story which I felt very close will resonate very closely with many people. And that's how it came into being. I mean, it was liked, and then we went into full production of it.
Okay. I saw the trailer and I could see the glimpse of the story as well of Gond Ke Laddu. It talks about a mother who is trying to send the laddus to her daughter, and accidentally the delivery person drops it off, and all the chaos that happen after that. So, could you tell us a bit about the film, and was there any particular incident that inspired you to take up this aspect of delivery person?
Yeah, I mean, the gist, the plot of the story. I can't reveal much to what happens in the story, but to answer your question as to what inspired me to write this, the pandemic, apart from many other things, was also a lot about food. And recipes, and all of us were, I mean, it was a topic of conversation amongst many of us. And also this thing about caring for your loved ones who are far away, both ways, children worrying for their parents thinking about their kids, the sheer fact about distance and not being able to be close to one another, and then the desire of sending something which is special. In this case, with one of the lead characters of Sushila ji, played beautifully by Neena ma'am. So that kind of triggered a thought in me about, when pandemic has imposed limitations on people, and connections, physical connections, that how important it is for us to reach out to somebody through a gift, let's say, or through something, which is special that you want to send across. And also there were a lot of stories of delivery boys and delivery agents surfacing. They are almost like the front liners of pandemic ever since it has started. And har tarah ka stories, I was listening, engaging. In fact, these were the only people you would see at your doorstep, or half see under a mask at your doorstep through the pandemic, because you were not, in the lockdown phase, you were not meeting anybody. Even now, I think so much of our daily communication is dependent on them, through exchanges, online orders, this and that. And I just felt that I want to tell a story which like, what I want to say is that Gond Ke Laddu definitely carries the warmth of a mother's love. And it's also a metaphor and an analogy, you could say, of, something unexpected that could happen to you in middle of so much of chaos and unhappiness. So it's also like a sweet surprise.
Okay. Neena ma'am, could you tell us a bit about your character and what is it that drove you to this particular project?
Yeah, my character's name is Sushila ji, and as Shikha just now told you, and you've also seen it, she's a mother, and she lives in a smaller city of Uttar Pradesh, and her daughter is away, and she wants to send something to her daughter. Now, normally, perhaps she would have just carried it there and gone there, but since the story is based during pandemic times, the whole thing becomes very tedious for anybody to even send something. And maybe for a senior citizen to do this and actually go through the whole thing process, because it is very new for them. And I mean, for us, I would say, and to know about, how to do it. And so it's about how she really feels so much. So she makes the laddus and now she has to send them. And then I felt it is what interested me in the story was this interaction between today's generation and that generation, trying to form a bond to technology. And so I found that very, very interesting. A woman trying to get get a hold onto new technology and the way people think today, because all she wants to do is just send love to her daughter. So it's a very sweet story. I found it very sweet, and with a lot of it has very practical humor in it. That's what I liked. It's not a very serious thing. It's humorous. It's she's because she lives alone. She's very self-sufficient. So in that you start up. I saw a bit of humor in that also. That's why I chose to do it.
Okay. I believe the pandemic has, of course, affected each one of us in different ways. Could you tell us how has that affected you personally, and how has that probably the effect of pandemic or what you've gone through? We all felt that being disconnected from our families, feeling helpless, and so how has that personally affected you, and how were you able to capture that in the story, or it has helped you perform in the story?
Yeah, well, the pandemic was on and is on, and it is hopefully it will end at some point, but we don't know. But this story definitely that. In fact, that is what drew me to it. That it is very much today's story. What we are actually living. We're actually living this horror, and I was like almost 2.5 years that we're doing that. So for me, that was the main thing, that it was not some period thing that was happening, or some futuristic thing, or some fictitious time zone, where there's no pandemic, but it is actually there. So I think that comes naturally when we are all living it every day. I'm fortunate that my entire family is with me, and we all live in Bombay together. So I didn't have those kind of pangs of, people being away from me. And I've just been fortunate that it's, but I could see other people suffering like that. And especially when I was working throughout the pandemic, and I saw the younger generation of actors, would, I mean, their parents are there. They used to worry about their parents, because parents are old, and you don't, and that time we didn't know much about this virus also. Now we know a lot more about it. So I picked up from there. That's what an actor's job is, to notice things and imbibe them into your character. And otherwise, Sushila ji was very much who I am. I'm a mother, and she's my age, this Sushila ji. So that came naturally, I think.
Okay. So, Ms. Shikha, I believe you have worked mainly on ad films. So, how has that experience come in handy when shooting for a web series?
I have, yes, I predominantly do TV commercials. I also have short films in past. I have also worked in non-fiction documentaries. So I have a little bit of experience of working on different mediums. This is, since it's an anthology, and it is not like either a long format, nor is it a web show where you're building one episode after another. This was exciting, interesting for me to be in that space of 20-25 minute film, where you can sort of try out something different with an idea, and still try to see how you can achieve binding the ends from in a story. I mean, it was a fun experience, I have to say that. And I think it's just a process from the point it starts, from the point you start writing. And it involves actually a lot of editing at every stage, especially at the writing stage, and then when you shoot it, and at the editing stage. So it's an interesting experience to be able to bring characters. And in my film, you have 3 different characters, who are taking the story forward. And they all have like a very interesting track, which sort of interweaves in the story. So it was fun for me to put all of it together and bring it out.
Okay. So what were the challenges that you faced, while telling this long form story in comparison to ads or other mediums?
I wouldn't use the word challenge. I mean, I think it's just, it's a process. Like, what I was just trying to explain before. A TV commercial has its own demands, its own technicalities, technique, approaches, and it has its own sort of format in which we have to work and communicate a story in 60 seconds or 30 seconds. But I would definitely say that when you do long form, there is a lot more of you in it, because a TV commercial is, product centric communication. You're creating a story for a product, and here it's, the idea got conceived in my mind. So there's a lot of, I think, my own expression, which I could bring out. And also the beauty of long form is to be a little more indulgent in creating emotions and the universes of the character. So for me, it was just a lovely experience, which I just enjoyed.
Okay. When did you shoot it? How long was the shoot for?
We shot the film over 5 days between Noida and Agra in areas of Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. Yeah. Neena ma'am, since now, especially during this pandemic, there has been a boom of OTT, and it has provided a lot of opportunities for the actor, and many artists also say that has helped increase the shelf life of actors. So what do you have to say about that?
Yes, I completely agree with it, because when the virus first struck us, everything was shut, and you suddenly couldn't shoot, and there was nothing, and you really started. Even I started wondering what's going to happen. I mean, suddenly there was a pause, and it was the end. It was a dead end, and then of course OTT was there. Everything was there, but see, theatre, for example, plays could not happen. Films were not happening as much because they were they could not open the theatres. So OTT was a very, very big thing for everybody. Also, it's not only about the actors, but also the audiences. They had something to look forward to in the evenings or during the day. And, otherwise there's a lot of depression setting in. And so they had so much of choice. So OTT is definitely, even otherwise, I think as a medium, it's a fantastic, it's got huge scope for everybody, not only actors. I think, I'm one person who's seen all the mediums grow, I mean, in the 70s when I started, it was just plays, theatre and films. And then television came in, Doordarshan came in, and channels came in, and then short films are there, and documentaries are there, and now OTT platforms are there. So the growth is always welcome. Any medium coming into existence offers work for everybody, not only actors, but right from script writers to directors to technicians, technical staff. And yes, I think that's how we all survived during this. Thank God for that.
Okay. You've worked in different mediums as well, like TV, films, and OTT shows also. So do you find any difference in these formats while you work?
Not really. I welcome every medium that comes in. And what I do is I study that medium. Study meaning, you need to understand the medium, what you're getting into. Like if I get into it and say, why isn't it a big 3-hour movie? Then that's ridiculous. I know what the format. You have to understand the format, which I do because I have a very, very strong theatre background, and I had very great teachers who gave us that sense of space. What space am I entering into? So once you're prepared, that's part of the job of an actor. You can't go blindly into something and say, oh, I thought it was 3 hours, but now it's only half an hour. No, no actor does that. You are very aware of what you're getting into. So any space, I've done a short film for 3 minutes, and I keep doing ads which are 60 seconds and 90 seconds maximum. So that doesn't matter, and that's the scriptwriter's job. So when the script comes to us, it is already edited in such a way that it has to fit into that thing. So yes, that's not a problem for me at all.